Welcome back to Made Up of Wires. We're decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night, starting off with good audio today. If you're not familiar with the Castlevania Symphony of the Night decompilation project, go to SOTN.z.dev, and you'll find a link to GitHub and a link to Discord, where you can find more information, as well as a link to progress that we've made so far when decompiling. So I did want to call out one thing that we were talking about yesterday. Roaming pointed out that he had a match for the last weapon function. We don't have it checked in yet, but I worked with him yesterday to, from the time that the scratch was created in decomp.me to now, there had been some changes in several of the entity extensions that are used for weapons. And so there was some, it didn't apply cleanly, but we were able to get a match again. And so once the PR is done and merged in, all of the weapon functions for weapon 0 should be done. So we spent about a month doing that on the stream, and thanks to Roaming for getting the last couple percent on the last weapon in weapon 30, and we should be able to get that done. There's still a lot of data that needs to be imported. I was going through yesterday and just confirming what needs to be done there still. So still a lot of data before weapon 0 can be completely done. But that should be done hopefully this week and get merged in. It's been so long since I've looked at weapons that I had to refresh a lot of my memory about what was going on there. So we had been working on the Sword Familiar. I've only done one PR for this. I actually have several functions that I've decompiled, but haven't submitted for PR yet. And I might get those cleaned up a little bit. I was trying to import a bunch of data along with it at the same time, and haven't gotten to that. So I think we'll keep going on some of the things that I haven't done yet in the Sword Familiar, and we'll see what else there is, and maybe look at some of the data as well. There's still a bunch I mentioned yesterday that there's a bunch of globals and stuff that aren't named. It's not necessarily clear to me at the moment what many of these functions are doing and how they all fit together. And so we might look at that a little bit too and see. When we did gameplay last week or the week before, we did find some things that we could identify. I don't know if we'll do gameplay today, but maybe just by going through code we can come up with names for things. All right, so I am going to. I have started on some other. I should mention this too. We were working on this function yesterday and got to the end of it, except for I was struggling to get this last part to match, and threw it in the permuter and was looking at do while 0 loops, which all act as barriers at times, and I think it was one nut McGee. I'll have to go back through and attribute it to the right person, but somebody in Discord did find the right trick yesterday. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Oh, it's Roaming again. Good job, Roaming. Sorry. Roaming coming in and saving the day twice yesterday. Morning, Mr. Mitty. And good morning, Oregon. All right, so one more done. I think we're down to about 7 or 6 or 7. I started on one I mentioned yesterday, and I don't think that one's worth pulling in. There was some of the same like casting as 32-bit pattern that was in this one from yesterday. I'm going to go over here and I want to pull in, I have another PR out. I noticed that when, and I don't know when this happened, I noticed it a few weeks ago when creating a context, the way our tooling works is you can select a source file and then you say make context, and it will go through and basically run the C preprocessor, which deals with all the includes and all the macros and everything. And it does that by invoking GCC, but not the MIPS specific GCC that we use for PlayStation or MetroWorks for PSP. And so what was happening was there's a section of macros for determining whether this is going to be targeting a 64-bit platform or not. Because GCC was just the Ubuntu GCC running on x86 64. It wasn't saying, hey, I'm a 64-bit platform, and then there's some alignment and additional padding that gets added to certain structures. And that was happening when the context was being generated, but the only time that I know of that we would use a context file is for decompiling the 32-bit versions of the game. That might change possibly if we were going to work on the Xbox, but I'm not actually sure that the Xbox version is PowerPC 64. It might be PowerPC 32. I may or may not be wrong about that. But we need 32-bit headers. And so what was happening was some just alignment fields were being added to structures, and that was throwing off offsets in the decomp.me. And so I fixed that, and that's out for PR. But I want to make sure that I have that today before I generate a new context. So let me merge that into my current branch, because I think that that's probably the best path forward. And then when that does get merged, that commit will just fall out. So I want to look for non-matchings again. So we'll go and do like we used to. I'm looking for non-matchings in TT04, looking for files, and we're going to take the 7th field and the 11th field, which is the size and the name, in the ls option and find, and we're going to sort by the size. And we have 7 left. I think this 270 was one that I was working on. Let me... no, there is no scratch for that. So let's do that one. We'll just start with the smallest one. And that went too fast. I don't think that... No, that didn't work. 1 second to... fix my copy script. And like I said, I'm going to recreate the context. And so for this, I'm going to base it off of the TT04 header file. Not all of the definitions that, or declarations for globals are going to be in there, but that's fine. We can bring those in later if we need to. So for this, you grab a path to why isn't this working? Come on, autocomplete, go. So there's a sort.h function in this directory, and then I want the context target, and so that'll create the ctx.c file, which, if you've done any of this decomp, it should look familiar. And we'll take that over to decomp.me as well, and I'm just going to replace this. And this one should be relatively clean. All right. One PlayStation. Morning, Eldritch. Good to have you back. Roaming, good to have you back as well. So we have a not anything too bad looking. Hopefully this one goes quick. We'll see. Is there anything that I want to do before we start? No, I don't think so. So I'm going to do the normal things. Rename arg0 to self. I am going to disable built-ins until we need them. And then we need to figure out what these missing types are. And so most of these we're going to have definitions for. This one is a little bigger. I'm only somewhat familiar with it, but Eldritch, are you doing any of the work on the durability stuff that Dragon Blitz has been streaming? I haven't watched any of those yet, so I don't know what the gimmick is there. I can assume that it's similar to like a Breath of the Wild style durability for weapons, and then they break. So we have one function that we don't have a signature for yet. It does look like it takes 2 arguments. So in the one other place that it's being used, it is appears to be the same thing. Don't know yet what its return type is, but we can assume a void. Neither one uses the return value. So I'm going to take these and put them in the context. Yeah, I'm not a good enough game player that I've ever liked a durability feature in a game that is a little too punishing for me, personally. All right. So let's get a new new decompile, see if there's any additional types that we learned about. Doesn't look like it. So we need to figure out what this 0080 is. We actually do know what 0080 is, but I don't have this struct definition. So let me go back and find that. So that was something called the sword struct. Certainly not the best name. As mentioned earlier, hardest things in computer science are naming things, cache coherence. Or two hardest things are naming things, cache coherence, and off by one errors. This entity that's declared here, this will be part of the normal global entities table at a specific offset, and so we'll have to calculate what that is, but that's not going to be a separate global. Sword struck. All right, let's get one more decomp with all that now, and then fix the compiler errors. So line 25, I'm not sure why it thinks that this is a, we have a sword struct was already there, so we need to fix that. So 25, I left this as a void. I thought I had copied this declaration already. I did, and I left it as void. My mistake. Entity being undeclared is not good. It looks like I will have to rebuild the context. I don't have, excuse me, I don't have game.h included, it looks like, in the header file that I built this from. And that pulls most other things that it in. So I'm going to regenerate the context one more time. With game.h included. And then go fix the context. Yep, it's better. And we have something that's compiling. So the first pass, I'm going to go through and clean up as many extra variables. I might untangle these go-tos most of the go-to should just be relatively simple things that like incrementing the step. In this case, it looks like this probably happens after the switch. And so a little bit of care needs to be taken just to make sure that things that are falling out of the switch don't hit that if they're set to return immediately. But it looks like in most cases that's what should happen there. Let's do that first. So for case 0, we're going to call this unknown function in the sort familiar. Yeah, physicists they have their own unique things. Unfortunately, I'm not one. I thought I had a pretty good grasp of physics, and then I had the worst physics professor. I shouldn't say he was the worst. Whatever his teaching method was, I unlearned physics that I knew, and now I would not consider myself knowledgeable in that field at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break and pull this block 20 down to the end. And now all of the go-tos for block 20 should just turn into breaks, I believe. This is a fall through. The only thing I need to be somewhat careful of is whether or not there are variables that are being reused here. But because it was in this case 0, there really wasn't anything in that preamble that that mattered. So I'm not too concerned. So yeah, I can just break here. And then for case 4, we are returning before any of this happens. Save frequently. So now we can go through and get rid of some of these superfluous variables. Step increment is always the increment operator. We don't have a linting tool yet for the sound effects, but I think that would be nice to start doing that. There's so many sound effects, and it can be challenging sometimes to go through all those. So this temp A0 is most likely just setting this global and then reusing it. It's harder to tell in the PlayStation version than the PSP version. That's going to be the case, but let's go down to... We have some stuff at the top related to stack variables, where we have too many. Those will fall out as a lot of this gets cleaned up. Here are... the code is generating the same assembly as our target, but I think we can clean these up and continue to generate the rate. So I'm going to work at getting rid of this temp A0 first. Interestingly, and I've seen this elsewhere, the Y case is happening before the X case. We'll have to see if that gets switched as these move down. So yeah, I think these should be in this order, and that works out. So the entity extension that we have for Sword Familiar doesn't have these fields defined yet. So M2C, when it came through, chose the illegal entity extension, which is just telling us that we need to switch this to something that that is valid for us to use. So let's look at the Sword Familiar entity extension, and this looks like it's at offset 8. Let me find where this is set. Line 48 is not showing up in the listing. It likely is part of this. But we do need to so that's going to be this. I don't know why it's getting associated with line 49. It's this store, 16-bit store for offset 84. So we need to see what is offset 84 for the Sword Familiar extension. And we just have unknown 84. So I don't expect anything different to show up there. For this temp A0_2, that's going to be similar. We can get rid of that by just reusing the field. And again, on the PSP side, we'd see a separate read there, but it's optimized out for the PlayStation. So let's figure these out as well. The offset 6 is going to be 88. And I think these are all just unknown. Unknown 86, unknown 88. And I'm going to leave this variable here. We'll give it a better name. I don't think that this assignment is like a pass-through assignment. Yeah, the switching switching array indexes and symbol is certainly an odd feature. Is feature the right word? Oh, so offset 5 is going to be this value. Should get my son to come and give a geometry lesson on all the drawing code. So here we have a unsigned load for 86. And assigned load in the original. I don't know why this was marked unsigned to begin with, but that might cause problems with other things. Well, before I make that change, let's go back here and let's see if that does cause any issues. These will be in entity.h, and we'll looking for the sword failure. That didn't seem to cause any issues. I don't know why it was unsigned to start with. So I made a macro, and I don't know if that macro is here yet. And I've mentioned this, not fixed eye, float eye. Yeah. So I've talked about this a bit. PlayStation uses fixed point values. And so any of the trigonometric functions are going to return a fixed point value where the integer portion is shifted over by 12 bits. And then we have 23 bits of integer sign, and then 12 bits of fraction. This is likely out of order. I'm pretty sure this is going to be an absolute value. Built-in abs or abs. That's a PlayStation decision. So instead of putting floating point hardware in the system, they put fixed point hardware, and it's kind of an interesting anomaly because at the time, 92, 93, when they're designing the PlayStation hardware, whether fixed point or floating point was going to be the standard for fractional math in computers, I guess was still kind of an open question. And so Sony chose fixed and everybody else went floating point. Kind of an odd, just historical anomaly. All right, so other sword functions have had kind of the same tangle where some of these things are being assigned to temporary variables. So like this A1, so V1 is being moved to A1. There's really not a reason for it other than this is how the optimizer decided to allocate these registers. As far as I can tell, A1 here is always the same as var V1. I get into trouble with this. I am going to try to make that change though. I don't see a reason not to. It might be a little harder to debug when looking at the assembly later, but I want to get this down to variables anyway. I'm going to back this one out, or change this one first. The most important part is down here. Getting this one to be V1 and V1 and V1 here. That should give us equivalent instructions what we had before, because all those values are the same. And then I think that should get rid of A1 from that mess. Var V1, like I said, it should be built-in absolute value. Again, using the built-in. When this gets merged, it should be switched back to just abs to get the compiler to choose the right thing. So this is moving that value to A1. as this other stuff gets cleaned up. I'm hoping that that gets resolved. Var v1, it looks like, is probably can be replaced with this global, and we're actually just assigning it right back. So let's find all our var v1s now and replace them with this value. We can't quite, we do need this later var v1, so we can't quite do that yet. So what I'm going to do is do the assignment up here and keep var v1 for now. This var v1 underscore 2 is going to get the same treatment. And we can get rid of this. And it's also going to have its assignment done like that. This is telling us that F8 and FC should be, it looks like these may be backwards, or this, no, this assignment is happening first. This actually reminds me a lot of what was happening in the other functions as well. So I could probably just look at that bigger one that I gave up on earlier, because it has a lot of these same structures. And actually, this may serve as a good template for the duplicated code in that bigger function, because we can get it perfect here and then kind of duplicate it elsewhere. All right, so we have this var v1, and it's switching between one of these two values. And so what I think is happening here is not that our code should be using a temporary variable, but doing this assignment in either side of this switch, or sorry, this conditional. So if this case is false, we're going to assign that way. Otherwise, we're going to assign the other way. And now we can get rid of all of these, and all of those variables should fall away. And it would probably help if I didn't screw up my copy pasta. It does look like I did break something along the way, and may have to back this out. Let me back that out and try to figure out what I did. So this was good the way that it was. We don't need that assignment. Var v1. We are going to need var v1 will be the same as 604. I think that's where I went wrong earlier. So now this should be fine. So in the else case, we're assigning here. Oh no, it's still not working. So we do have a temporary variable. All right. Let me switch back actually and look at that other function. This was our. This was the one that we were looking at earlier. Okay, so a little different than I thought it was going to work out. But I think those are all the same players. No, they're not. Oh, a max macro. Yeah, possibly. Let's look at that. So we do have max set. What I wanted to do is so this is our first. I don't know if this is right. No. Yeah, I'll try max. Awesome, thank you. We'll get it right eventually. B1A1. Yeah, so let's just put the ternary right in line. Yeah. That is weird. So Roaming's pointing out that it looks like the max macro is written wrong. So if A is greater than B, return B. That looks like min to me. And what is the definition of min? That's clamp min. Same definition. All right. I hope nobody is using max. Or if they are, they probably mean min. I'm interested in that now. So let's see how many places we have max. Only one, but it is a shared stage method or function. So this would be used basically in every stage. All right, so let's see if we switch that, if that's going to break anything. fortunately, this is a pretty easy fix. I didn't check if this was inlined anywhere, which it could be. So we need to find everything that includes skeleton. Oh, it's only NZ0, so it's actually not as far-reaching as I expected, but it is in there twice. How does that even work? Oh, did I... Why? Oh, NO0 and NZ0. Okay. I can read. So let's touch those and make, and everything works fine. So good eyes roaming. So let's fix Max, and I'll probably get that fixed later. And definitely surprising that this hadn't been caught earlier. Yeah, these are written exactly the same. Alright, and I am gonna do a make clean in the background for this, and we'll let that go, and we'll fix the one in our context. So all that works out now. And then I think V1 and V2 can go away. And build finished, and that's all good. So we didn't break anything along the way. Let me see how many of these illegal fields are still around. It does look like this one should be something we can finish. So we have 6 is 88, so 7 is going to be 90. Um, 90 we already have named as current X. I'm sorry, it's going to be 8A. I can math. So it looks like that is our assignment there. So 9, we're just doing 7, which was current X. 9 is going to be target X. And this looks like a lot of the other sword stuff. I will post this scratch if anybody does want this. I'll post it in chat. Why key combos don't work in chat is a mystery I may never know. I missed temp 1. Oh no, I didn't miss temp 1. I just want to make sure that all these get updated as appropriate along the way. Oops, not that. Temp 1, do we need a separate variable for... I don't think so. I think what ends up happening here is this addition is actually duplicated both of these places and just gets reused. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. We'll call temp 1 X, or temp T1 X. And if we can get rid of it later, we'll do that. And then temp A3 is going to be Y. And yeah, I think that these will fall out and not be necessary. Illegal 8 and illegal 9. So we had 9, which was target X. I don't think we have a name yet for 8. Yeah, 8 is just unknown 8C. So all of these, temp A2 getting calculated so late, this appears to be happening after the call to sign. Again, this is going to be a float to I. It's probably happening in line here. It's possible that these are as well. Probably pull up that other function and get the ordering there as well. So target X and then the sign call is done, and then yeah, all those additions are happening in line. It looks like there is some ordering that does get constrained. Sure, I'm not getting rid of things that I need. Offset 8 was... I believe it was target X. No, it was unknown 8C. Like, my short-term memory is that of a gnat. So most of these are gonna this is a minus equals, or sorry, plus equals temp A4 yeah, the trickiest thing is just making sure that, like in this case, I got rid of temp T0 before getting rid of all the things that referenced it. So just keeping track of what those are. Fortunately, we have the decompiler. Oh, thank you, Mr. MIDI. Appreciate it. Mr. MIDI gave us a PSP version. So we're at 92, getting really close. It will be nice to have this function in place because this, like I said, this code is repeated in this other larger function as well. And there are parts of it that GCC is deduping there into shared blocks, and getting those will be very helpful. There, in this particular case, there may be some grouping that's necessary. Yeah. I ran into that earlier. And temp A2 is gone already. So it looks like there is a... we still have one unnecessary variable that isn't getting optimized out. There may be some ordering down here that can be fixed, like this. Not that one. Actually, I think the X and Y here are going to go away. And now this should just be getting the ordering correct. And I'm going to cheat and look at where I did this before. So we have 8C, then the XY, and then the two others. I'm going to assume that that's going to be the same. We do have a few extras here. So our T0, which is here, it looks like it's happening later. That doesn't make sense. I'm going to change these to plus equals. That may affect some of the optimization down below. I'm not sure. Hey, Entropy. Gravity Well, good to have you back. So I'm missing one of these along the way. I don't know if that's a hint from roaming or because he knows something I don't. I will throw one in there just for fun, to force the ordering. So this, I see what's happening. This had been pulled out into a variable, but the calculation's already happening here, so I don't need to do that addition again, because it's already happened and written back to those locations. All right, so then we have a big Pythagorean equation, and do have a slight out of order. Yeah, that does make sense, and I think when I was doing this on the bigger function and figuring all these out, especially with this here, it definitely makes sense that this is XYZ. It probably makes sense that this is another one of those same structures, and this is another one of those same structures. What business does the sword have doing a 3D distance calculation? That's a little odd to me. But it does, yeah, it does seem like that's the distance. It's possible that the Z field is always 0. I agree, though, that that does look like a Z, and I'll change that now, because why not? All of our unknown 88s. Oh, no, I... Let's try this. Got most of them. There we go. This is the kind of place that I'd want to do while, except this is happening out of order. I'm going to keep going and not worry about this for now. And hope that the out of orderness resolves itself. I don't see anything super obvious there that would make one ordering preferable over another. So down here we have this place on effects. That might have actually, that fix our one above? No, it didn't fix that one. Changing the API from a global symbol to struct access, fixed that. These normally I would put as inline assignments, but it looks like they are just being assigned that way. And it also looks like these probably are another set of XYZ coordinates. 8E is our target X. So there's this load immediate down on 111. Oh, we have a loop here that needs to be fixed. And some struct access that also needs to be fixed. So let's get an I variable. It looks like we have two things going on. So we have this entity, which I said earlier is going to be an index into the global entities array. And it's probably just being indexed directly. It's possible that it's a pointer. We could treat it as a pointer. So var s0, let's rename to entity. That makes more sense. That it doesn't make sense that it's a pointer. I don't know. We'll see. And then we can do an entity ++. Down here, this may be in the for loop. Let's see. So we're looking for, we're going to destroy one of 4 entities. So up here is where we're having some problems. Let's see what relics is. So relics is an unsigned 8. So we have an 8-bit value, and we're this is every time I say oh, let me show you this trick that's happening, and then I try to reproduce the trick, it never works out. This case, I'm positive this trick is going to work out. So we have an array of unsigned 8s, so 8-bit values. But if we look at the instruction, at our target instruction, we're loading a word. And then we're doing the comparison against at least a 16-bit value. And what I'm almost positively sure is that we are going to be loading each of these individually. And the second one, we're going to be checking for the value 3. And all the others we're going to be just assuming are requiring to be 0. And super smart GCC, it optimized that into a single load word, and that's I think that's pretty cool that it can do that. So 3, I think, is you have the relic and the relic is you're currently using it. And of course, that didn't compile to the right thing. No, yeah, in this case it's not a fix. Did I choose the wrong one? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, masking the wrong thing. Still masking the wrong thing. All right, so what are we? So here we have everything but the and. Oh, let's do this. No. We're close, we're close. Alright, so what would cause the and? The simple thing to do would be to just use a load word macro and do the comparison that way, but I don't like that. I like the idea that this is being optimized the way that it is. Yeah. Check the PSP. Okay. I'm going to save this. I'm going to finish off this last section, and then we'll check this. So we have more of this. This is going to be I think a mod 80 or divide by 80. Let's see. Okay, not 80. 7F? Not 7F. Divided by 80? Divided by 7F. Now, cheating, going back, looking over here. We have this elsewhere. Okay, so this wasn't fixed yet in this other function. This is a mod operation or a division. Let's see if there's a hint. Possibly 1F. Or 32. Not 32. Sorry. Real 32. That one's close. Divided by 32? So now we have the instructions out of order. I think the other one's going to be divided by 32 as well. And hopefully that puts all the instructions in the right place. So we're missing... it does look like there is a plus 80 in there. Okay. And here, it looks like there's a plus 80 as well. Or 128. I like to read your numbers. And then our last field here. So offset 2. Sorry, offset 4. Unknown 80. All right, so we have some register issues up at 106. So this is being masked. Let's write it with load word. So we get register issues this way. That works. I dislike that more than the alternative. I'm going to leave it because of how close it is, but I do think it is loading those individually. So then there's the ordering issue up there too. So let's go to Mr. MIDI's PSP version and see what happens when we try that over here. So definitely not perfect. Uh, 49. This FC and F8. Sorry. Temp V0 it looks like is possibly the wrong type. No. I do want to go down to the bottom here and see what that tells us. All right, so it is loading each of these bytes individually. So we have a load byte, and a load byte here. What I think is happening is only 2 of the bytes are being loaded, and that's likely why the mask is being used. So let's write it that way. I would think that it's probably relics 20 and 22, which is why it requires the 32-bit load. So I'm going to say 20 equals 0 and 22 is 3, and that may be masked. It looks like this is all knotted. Okay. That seems reasonable. And yeah, what I think is happening here is this will have to be fixed, but it looks like it's just indexing right into this. And there's not a second variable. Let's try this a couple different ways. So this is this actually tells us so we have an array of indexes into the entities table, it looks like. So this 36C8 I think is a array of entities. So let's have an array of entity pointers. And so sorry, an array of entity IDs. And so we have our entity ID pointer here, and we are going to dereference it and take a reference to where that is in the entities table. And that's probably happening up here. It's either happening up here or inline. So no, the add is happening somewhere else. Yep, up there, not here. It's never being loaded though. So we're, I guess this isn't a array. We're just skipping over 4 entities at a time. That's possible. I'm not sure why. Let's see if that looks better. That's not quite right. I also don't know what... So this load isn't happening this way. It is possible that these are just going through the first 4 entities. Let's see what this is. We're adding 4 to S0. S0 is our I. So is it just I plus 4? Okay. I should have looked closer at the other version. Let's look at the... We probably have a well-known entity at at 4. Oh, of course. It's unknown entity 4, that well-known entity. All right, so let's get that back over. PlayStation version. And so now all that's worked out in the PlayStation version. So the last thing that... oh, this didn't end up working out here. So there's still something more to be done with this. I do like this version better than the load word version. It seems a little odd that like V1 is being loaded here and word instead of the mask being pre-computed. That seems to be the only other thing that that is different between these two versions. Is let me try this. No. There may be an ordering issue there. Let's go back to the PSP. I think that's close, but obviously something is not quite right there. The PSP version looks perfect. Let's try taking out the explicit equality check. Okay, that works as well. Now let's see if no, it still doesn't work on the PlayStation side. So close, but not quite right. Moving up to 95, that area. So this looks like these are being set much later, and that may help with the PlayStation side. And then up here on line 66, there's some type information that is that looks to be wrong, and so I'll have to figure out what might be causing that. So let's try this now. No change. All right, so still some more work to be done. I'm gonna clear out these temporary variables. We'll see which ones we still need. We need V0 and V02. And I just want to make sure that that entity ID stuff worked down below. Yeah, that all worked. And yeah, so we just need to figure out a few things in there. And that should be working as well. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. If I work on this at all tonight, I think I'm going to look at the make config script, which is used for importing new overlays. There is, I think, some low-hanging fruit there around how we're matching duplicate methods across overlays. And so I have some ideas for how to make that a little better. So I think that's probably what I'll do with my time this evening if I find any. Other than that, I think that's all I have for you today. So we've been decompiling Castlevania Symphony tonight, if you're just joining us. working on the Sword Familiar and getting pretty close to finishing that one off. As always, there's little details and little things that that can throw off the decompilation, but we're really close. 98% for a first pass isn't bad. Go to soten.z.dev to learn more. And I appreciate everybody showing up. Like, follow, subscribe. Show up in chat here Monday through Thursday, decompiling, and always have fun with everyone who stops by chat. Really enjoy it. That's all I have for you. Adios.